Whitney and I got into RCA, recycled concrete aggregate concrete, by accident. Not by accident.
Yeah,
Kinda. Nah.
Yeah.
So, years ago, had a full head of hair. That's not true. That's not true at all. Years ago, we got called up by a client. And funny enough, this has to do with ASR. You know, one of the things that we talked about last week. The client was shipping in material out of state.
And it was getting astronomical.
Well, he was last in line to get quality Class F fly ash to mitigate ASR. So his resource diminished in one area, so we had to go somewhere else for his aggregate. Oh, I'm sorry.
You're fine.
Aggregate that was not as reactive.
Sure.
And he called us up, and it was costing him an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
And he called us up and said, hey,
is there anything you can think of that we can do to solve this problem?
And, you know, we had pitched a lot of different additives and admixtures, and for some reason, he wanted to go the aggregate route.
Right.
So he
Right.
asked the question, have you ever worked with RCAC? And we said,
Of course.
duh. RCAC, recycled concrete, aggregate concrete.
Right.
I would call a specialist.
Yeah.
Spent a very long time
we
and a lot of research that we invested in ourselves and Whitney during her baccalaureate. And what it is you're taking old concrete.
Right, like pavements, slabs, those sorts of things. Yep.
20, 30, 40 years ago, 10 years ago, crushing them up, cleaning, washing them, sieving them, grading them.
Yep. Cleaning them, yeah.
And then using it
in place of your concrete. In place of, your coarse aggregate. You can use it for fine aggregate too, but people are a lot more comfortable using it for coarse.
So he called us up, we're talking, we say, oh yeah, totally, we've done work on that. He goes, great, I've got a super sack of a 3/4 inch minus, or 5767, can I bring it over tomorrow? And you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
We were shoveling aggregate, RCA.
You were. I was
out of his shop. I mean, it was about 2,000 or 3,000 pounds.
Yeah.
And we still have it where the septic tank is.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So what we started doing is evaluating the difference between virgin rock and RCA. And we focused on it being a total academic exercise.
Right. Well, we did, but at the same time, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that because we were trying to make sure the entire way that it was something that could easily be implemented.
Sure. No, I didn't mean... Sorry, I didn't mean that it was absent of technical transfer.
Okay.
What I meant by that is that we were going after the basic understanding of the science.
Right.
The research.
Right.
But still, like Whitney said, if it wasn't gray concrete down the chute, it was pretty bad. And I have to say, it was a great research opportunity because right now, I mean, we've worked with a lot of larger entities, airports, government entities, as well as universities to educate them on what RCA is and how do we move forward on that.
Sure.
And what are do you remember the results from that?
Oh, I mean, we got great results. We were able to use 100% replacement, but there's a method to making it work. Yeah, it's not just replacement. It's not. You've got to treat it a little differently.
And the lessons learned from that have helped us talk to people not only about using RCA but making it.
Well, and being
quality
able
assurance
to
and quality control.
absolutely and implement it.
That is the key right there.
Right.
Like if you can't implement the entire thing, if it's just a matter of making a mix on paper, you're gonna fail.
Yeah.
If you got the QA QC, both sides of it making
it's such
aggregate,
a process.
But once you adopt the process, you're saving the world and making it making better concrete.
I think, and honestly, I really don't think it's that much different from virgin aggregate. The only problem is you've got the contractors and the ready mix providers that now have to become aggregate superstars, specialists, whereas, when you buy the virgin aggregate, they're handling that.
Absolutely.
So it's a whole nother process that has to be implemented.
They don't have to be an expert, but it's a new learning process.
Absolutely.
It's another piece of the sequencing that
they're not used to.
Be responsible and accountable for. So we really hope you learned something today. We're actually going to go into this a lot more. That story, the impetus of that was the lessons that we learned that despite the fact RCAC can be difficult,
If you can get it right, it is possible. And
Awesome.
it doesn't have to be that complicated, but there's checks and balances all along the way, and if you're missing those, then it's going to be a nightmare to work with.
So thanks for joining us today. Like, subscribe.
Yes, hit the bell.
Hit the bell. I hit the bell for the practical engineer the other day.
Did you?
I'm getting notifications now.
Oh, that's exciting.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us. Go Concrete!
Beat asphalt.
Yeah.